So I'm at a bored a-hole here, and I don't really know what to do when I saw the news this morning. I'm sure you've already seen it. A bunch of other people have talked about it as well. But yeah, I mean, the headline is that John Meadows, bodybuilder, if you're like me, you know him more from YouTube and his tips and just for being an all-round super nice dude, passed away in the last 24 hours. I think it was on his official Facebook page where, I don't know, someone in his team or his family mentioned that he had passed away peacefully in his sleep. And it's just one of those things, kind of, when you read the news, well, for starters, you can't believe it. Like, I know he had a heart attack some point last year, but it seemed like he'd gone past it. It seemed like he'd recovered. It seemed like he was having a whale of the time if you kept an eye on his videos. I mean, maybe I was being a bit naive. I don't know, a bit ignorant. It didn't seem like anything else was wrong. Anyway, the point of this video is, I thought about, what am I going to do? Am I going to address it? Am I not going to address it? Because I understand it's a little bit of it's a difficult thing, especially on YouTube. You don't want to look like you're being gratuitous with it. But I can't just sit here and make a video about, I don't know, supplements or what I did at the weekend or the Suicide Squad. I don't know, pick whatever the hell you want and not talk about it, because it seems incredibly unfair and it seems incredibly disingenuous, because he was a guy that I watched a lot. And if you had watched him, he was like just a super, super nice, positive individual, which in the world of YouTube fitness or fitness in general, bodybuilding, can sometimes seem like the minority, because there's a lot of, I hate this person, I hate that person, and just shouting around the place. And being, it happened in an online space, you get people talking about, he shouldn't have been taking this, or he shouldn't have been doing this, or he shouldn't have been doing that. I mean, it's a waste of time. And it's really not the time or the appropriate place to start discuss that either. Like, you all have one life, we don't want to get too hippy-trippy about it. And you do what makes you happy, and you try not to do what doesn't make you happy. And sure, maybe some of the things that you do that make you happy may not be ideal for your situation, but we shouldn't start speculating and deciding what has happened and was not happened. And I think it'd be much better just to try and, celebrate's not the right word because it feels a little bit too soon for that, but just remember all the good that John Meadows put into the world. Like, I doubt his YouTube channel is all of a sudden going to disappear. If you've never watched his stuff, go and watch his stuff. It is just, again, it's nice, not simple, it's just very effective, straightforward details, information about bodybuilding, lifting weights, fitness, and everything else. And even when he disagreed with people, he was just so respectful and nice about it. And because of that, you came away with an even greater respect for him. Like, it's this whole thing that we've talked about here on this channel about, sort of, I can't remember the thing now, but looking up as opposed to kicking down, or pushing up as opposed to kicking down, where you always try and maintain that level-headedness, and you always just try and, spin it positively in your head, I suppose, and realize even if somebody's coming at you and they're being mean, aggressive, and violent, you don't have to respond like they've responded to you. You can still keep your own dignity, which is what he did time and time again. And all of his advice is great. Of course it's great. He was a bodybuilder for ages. He absolutely smashed it. He was in ridiculous conditioning. He's only in his mid-40s, which just makes you shake your head. And again, I don't want to get too off on a tangent here, but something I did think, like, obviously I work a lot in the wrestling field over on What Culture Wrestling, and very sadly, professional wrestling over the years has been, wrought with these kind of horrible stories where you wake up and you look at your phone, you're like, what do you mean that person passed away? And ever since I started doing the fitness stuff, I don't think, if somebody has, it escaped me, which may be on me as well, but, this was certainly a guy that, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth hand, however far down the line we want to go, that I felt like I had relationship's too strong with. But that kind of thing when you watch somebody all the time and you kind of feel like you know them even though you don't, and even saying that makes you sound like an absolutely bonkers person. But I get it, right? It's the same with everybody that's doing this stuff. So that's what I did when I woke up. I shook my head. I just shook my head because I was like, it must be inaccurate, it must be fake, but then you go and you see the post. So that's it really. It was just, it just didn't seem right to talk about anything else. All the positive thoughts to his friends and family, I can't even imagine what they're going through. I can't even imagine. I suppose it's nice that he passed away peacefully in his sleep as opposed to something absolutely horrific. But, what does it even make a difference? Of course it doesn't. If you lose somebody close to you, I can't even imagine it. And I don't even want to imagine it, and I shouldn't even be talking the way I'm talking now. It's just difficult to come up with the words about what you say. But I wanted to pay my respects. I wanted to make out that I thought he was brilliant at what he did. And I suppose maybe subconsciously it inspired me to do, or at least carry on to do my fitness stuff. Because I think I've talked about it before, how I was a little bit intimidated, but I did start doing it. And then when you saw dudes like him and a bunch of others as well, you think, okay, man, yeah, I can fit into this. I can find my own niche. And even if some people don't like it, well, I'll adopt the same kind of attitude as John, and we'll go from there. So again, thoughts with his friends and family. I assume more information will come out soon. That's it. That's all I got to talk about. It doesn't seem appropriate to do all the like, share, subscribe stuff, so we'll just cut the video off. I don't want to just stop talking because that will be weird, but we will just stop talking. And again, let's hope we don't have to make many of these videos, although unfortunately that is just life. But we'll end on that note. Sometimes it is easy to forget that we're here for a short time, really. You know, it's not as long as I'm sure any of us would have wanted. So, yeah, just try and make sure that you're enjoying every day as much as you possibly can, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. We really, really don't. Again, if you had told me this 24 hours ago, I'd be like, what? I mean, what it felt like to me in comparison is there was another wrestler called Brody Lee, Luke Harper in WWE. I'm sure if you watch wrestling, you knew all about that story. I just shook my head for days because you can't even process it, even though you don't directly know this human being, but they have influenced your lives a little bit. And I think if there's one thing we can take away from these scenarios is that, yeah, we just need to let all the small things pass us by a little bit more, not go on Twitter and argue about absolutely ridiculous things, because it doesn't matter. And it is crazy how fast all this stuff goes. So I suppose I hope everyone out there in YouTube land or whatever the hell we're going to be calling it is doing well. I'm just ranting and raving now. We'll just finish the video. Rest in peace to John Meadows. Really good guy. Once more, thoughts with his friends and family. Just a crazy, crazy time. I'll see you on the next one.